Hey, what's up guys, it's Mike from TechPB, and today I was looking in the forums, in the TechPB forums, and in video requests and suggestions and TechPB video chatter. There was a request here from PB Professional saying if I can go into further detail on my tool parts repair kits and some of the things I keep in it. I'll tell you, when I was, a few years ago before I had kids and stuff like that, I didn't mind really taking the time at the fields to repair a gun. It's not anything I've ever liked to do because they only play paintball from about 10 o'clock to maybe about 1 o'clock, maybe 2 o'clock. Okay, so there's a 4-hour gap there for you to play, and then they take an hour-and-a-half lunch break, sometimes it's 12 o'clock. But anyway, there's only a couple hours to actually play. Okay, you can't play on Tuesday, and you can't play on Friday night, except for some fields and stuff like that. But for the most part, the only times you can really play paintball are on Saturday from like 10 to 2 and Sunday from 10 to 2. So I don't like using that time to try to repair guns when I'm at the field. It's just not something I like to do. I only have a couple hours to play, and I can fix guns any other time during the week. So typically if someone comes up to me with a gun repair, I'll just tell them give it to me and I'll bring it back to my house. But when I go out to the field, I'm not there to repair guns. And you shouldn't be out there either. Okay, you can repair guns all week long. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, you can repair guns all week long. Don't be repairing guns really at the field. And one of the best ways that you can get around doing that, especially I'm talking about your own personal markers, is this thing right here, okay, a chronograph. This right here, if you plan on being in paintball for any period of time, this is easily the best investment that you could ever make in paintball. These run, this particular one, which is the one I recommend, I think they sell these on ANSK for like 120 bucks. They sell these, 120 bucks, and this thing will save you more time, more money, more effort, more aggravation than anything you could ever possibly do. This thing alone right here will save you more aggravation and will help you more with your gun than reading all the forums on the internet put together, okay? You can find out exactly what's going on with your gun just by a chronograph, okay? And also, this will also kind of ease your mind a little bit, because if your gun is shooting a perfect 12.5 balls per second, 300 feet per second when you're at the house, well, it's going to shoot the same way when you get to the field, okay? So if you change a setting, or you change a board, or you change your dwell, or you change your ASA, or you change your regulator, or you change any of the parts inside of your gun, by having a chronograph and a little bit of air in your tank, you're going to find out, does your gun work or not, before you get to the field. The last place you want to be trying to get your gun repaired is at the field. Drives me up the wall. You have Monday that you can ship your gun out to get repaired. You got Tuesday to ship your gun out to get repaired. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Why are you trying to get your gun repaired Sunday morning when everybody else, or Saturday morning when everybody else is out there playing? Okay, you have all week long. The only time that the tech support people at the companies are not working is during the weekend. So why are you trying to get your gun repaired on the weekend? Most stores nowadays don't repair paintball guns. Just because it's a nightmare. So many people put so many aftermarket parts into their gun that after the store or whoever it is tries to get them repaired anyway, they just have to ship them back to the manufacturer to try to get it repaired, and then they wasted their time doing it. So, trying to repair the gun, they can't charge you for a gun they didn't fix, so they just end up shipping it back to the manufacturer. 90% of all the gun repairs out there are most likely nowadays going out to the manufacturer, just because the combination of the parts and the aggravation and this, that, and the other. Most stores right now do not carry these master parts kits that they used to back in the day, where people could bring in guns and get them repaired. There are some stores out there that do have, like die repair kits, Planet repair kit, Planet Eclipse repair kits, Dangerous Power repair kits. There is some stores out there that'll have them, but for the most part, most people are shipping their guns back to the manufacturer. But when I go out to the field, my toolkit is very simple. I have my Allen keys. I have either some sort of gun oil or lube or whatever it is. I've got usually a small pack of O-rings in case I shred one, and I also have the manual. But very rarely do my guns ever go down at the field. Now, and also I'll carry out batteries. Okay, I carry out usually about a half dozen 9 volts. Which I'll get, Batteries for USA, I'll get them because I shoot a Pinocchio, and most guns right now are using 9 volts, but if you use like a rotor or use a Prophecy or something like that, you want to carry out some AA's. But batteries and your tools to adjust your velocity, maybe some sort of gun lube or oil or something like that, your manual, which is very important, and and maybe whatever O-rings that your gun came with, bring those out there. But for the most part, if your gun shoots 300 feet per second over the chronograph at your house, then when you get out to the field, usually you just have to make very small adjustments based on the type of paint you're shooting and stuff like that. That's all I like to carry out at the field. I don't like repairing guns at the field. I've tried to repair people's guns, and all of a sudden a screw falls between the picnic bench and drops into the dirt, and I'm searching for that for 35 minutes, something like that. I prefer, generally, if there's a gun that's having a major problem, repair it at my house, on a towel, in a clean environment, where I can get on the internet and read if there's any sort of tricks or tips or anything like that. Now, besides that, in my garage, let's go take a walk really quick. In my garage, that's going to be a different story, because let's go to the garage real quick. Okay, now in my garage, this is where stuff gets really nasty, because obviously, as you guys know, we're constantly fixing guns, constantly repairing guns, constantly taking guns apart. So there's the Tech PB bench, which I'll have Allen keys and all sorts of stuff on. But here is my bench here, which is generally where I will be, where I take guns apart and practice with them and stuff like that. Needle nose pliers. Let's go through here and see what I've got here. I mean, I've got all sorts of stuff here. Needle nose pliers, 2 different types. Got a thinner one, a thicker one. Pliers. I've got blue Loctite, which is really important for fittings. Got some pliers. Let's see. I think I use that particular one for removing the ASA on the. Let's see here. Yep, that's what I was using that for. ASAs for the for dies. They tend to leak on the inside, so I use that little socket to get in there and unscrew it. Super glue, sometimes you need that. Some extra ASAs. Let's see what else here. Angel regulators don't tend to work very well. I've also got some little pressure testers that I put together here. This one is a regulator pressure tester, so I'll screw it in here and see. This is a 0 to 300 psi. I also have a 0 to 700 psi and also a 0 to 1200 psi for tank output pressure. Macro line, always keep tons and tons and tons of this stuff because I use it for so much. Also extra fittings. If you guys don't know, go to macroline.guy.com. He's got all this stuff. I go through tons of this stuff, cutting fresh pieces of macro line, putting on new fittings. Sometimes people get their fittings dirty. One of my favorite tools that I like to use, you can get this at Walmart, are these little utility screwdrivers here with these tiny little bits. This number 0 Phillips head. A lot of board screws tend to use that number 0 Phillips head. So you don't want to be using a really big screwdriver like this to try to remove your board of number 2. Usually you need like a real small screwdriver like that to pull it out. Also, another thing that's real important, especially on some Smart Parts guns, stuff like that, you got a C-clip puller. And let's see, I've got a manual here. Let's see, pressure testers. These come in major handy. This one's for an Ego. I think I've got one around here. Maybe it's inside, but I've got another one in here for like a Vice. I've also got one for the Mark. Also got one for the Yimtac. Here's like an autococker. And then here's something that is really coming handy. I got this from O-Ring Monkey, and it's a master O-ring kit. I've saved my ass so many times with this thing. It's got all of the O-rings. Definitely go check out oringmonkey.com if you need O-rings and stuff like that. But that's for the most part. When I'm fixing a gun and I'm taking a gun apart and teching it and tuning it and messing around with it and trying to learn it, before I do the review. This is what you see. This is also something else. I think I got these from Granger, but these are O-ring cutters and they cut really, really well. You can see, like, you take a piece of macro line instead of using a razor blade or whatever, and you just clamp it down. There you go. You see how nice and clean that cut was? Straight 90 degree cut. Tri-flow, this stuff comes in handy, like Mark bolts and Victory bolts, and also put it on the inside of ASAs. So, for the most part, you just got to build your stuff up. And there's my Planet Eclipse Power Balance wristband. You don't got one, I do. Also, let's take a look. This is another toolkit that I sometimes bring out. Adjustable wrenches, got more gauges in here that I use. A lot of times I end up blowing gauges and stuff like that. More fittings. Let's see what else we got in here. Oh, here's a little tool I really like. This is one of those old Mark bolts. This comes really in handy for tapping out the engines on Marks. Sometimes you got to try to stick your finger in there, and instead of trying to damaging the pillow bolt, I just use this and I stick it in through the breech and then tap it, and it just pushes it right out. I learned that trick from Terry Fong. And let's see here. I think what else is in here. Oh, that's a real important. That's one of my tools there. That's the Allen key that you use to remove the Myth G2 collar, so you can adjust it. And let's see what else here. Oh, this is another one that really comes in handy. These are bent tip needle nose pliers. I think I got these from like Sears, but they really come in handy, especially for removing hose. And here's some more of the jewelry screwdrivers, which always come in handy. So, you know, sometimes carry extra regulators for friends that have them, some extra O-rings and stuff like that. Usually just some miscellaneous set screws and stuff like that. So, okay, so that was so you guys saw my toolkit. Nothing really too exciting. I don't recommend really. You go out and go to Sears and drop $700 for paintball. A paintball toolkit. It's just not needed. You get it as you need it. And as the guns come out that you plan on buying that need the parts, then you can go ahead and buy them. But for the most part, a good set of ball socket Allen keys. Let me show you what I mean here. I'll get a really big one. But as you can see, that has a ball socket. These type of Allen keys work great for paintball because you can kind of twist out the Allen keys at an angle, and it gets in there and it grips it, and it definitely makes, especially like when you're getting out trigger frame screws and stuff like that. But get the tools as you need them. It's something that you accumulate. It's not really anything that you go out there and invest and spend a fortune in getting. So, and I get that question a lot. What's in Mike's toolkit and stuff like that. I don't bring a lot to the field for tools and stuff like that. I don't like repairing guns at the field. It's just, I'm there to play. I'm not there to fix guns. I'll fix guns all week long at my house, but at the field, unless it's maybe somebody with a maybe a Spider, and they've got the repair kit right there, and I can just put on like a new striker O-ring or something like that. But from what I've seen at the field, a lot of these guns that have problems at the field are things that could take hours upon hours of troubleshooting, swapping parts in and out, fixing, repairing, lubing, double checking the settings and stuff like that. And I'm not going to do that at the field and waste 3 out of my 4 hours to play. So I'll do it at the house, but I'm not going to do it at the field. So that's it for my toolbox show. So like I said, bring it to the field and don't bring a lot. At the house, I got a lot of tools. I always I need them, and I use a lot of them too, especially when I'm fixing and repairing guns. But just accumulate it as it goes along. Buy one gun, use it for a little while, and just keep your your tools and stuff like that. And you get another gun, see what tools you need, and then over time you'll accumulate and get a little tool bag. And but like I said, for the most part, if you have a chronograph in terms of fixing your own gun and making sure your own gun works, as long as you've got a good chronograph, you'll be able to diagnose any problems before you get to the field. That way you're like, hey, I read on PB Nation that if you put your LPR in your DM, one turn out, it shoots so much smoother. And then when you're at the house and you try to shoot over a chronograph, you're going to realize your bolt's sticking forward because it's not all the way out. So hope this helps. Thanks for tuning in.